Good evening. We are back. Tech Talks in South Tyneside. I was just sharing this. If you do like our Tech Talks, not TED Talks, Tech Talks, be sure to share this because as you might know if you've been watching some of our podcasts lately in our live conferences, we are across Facebook, YouTube and Twitter all at the same time. So no matter where you are, if you drop me a comment, I'm going to know you're there. So be sure to let me know if you're watching. We've got a great show for you this evening. No beer and pizza for me, though. Okay, let me know if you're beer and pizza in it, because normally we'd be here at 1 Trinity Green, downstairs in the conference room. Everybody there networking, and the beer and the pizzas, the margaritas would all be there. But no, I'm sitting here sipping coconut water, living the dream. So, yes, if you wouldn't mind sharing that, that would be great. And let me know what you've been up to, because we've got another tech talk lined up in the diary for you, and it is in early October. So if you haven't already, you might want to do this. You might want to sign up to the Invest South Tyneside e-newsletter. And what that will do is that will ping you an email every time we're going to go live with a tech talk, because obviously during these times we're going to put them remotely. Everyone was missing them. You are dying to hear from our fantastic guests. And so we're going to do it remotely for maybe the next few. We'll see how things go, whether we're allowed to get together or not. Let me know what you've been up to in the comments all the way through this interview. You can engage in the comments, and you can ask questions of our guest. Remember, I can do things like this and show your comment should you wish. And I'll take that banner off because it'll be confusing you. So yes, you can play a part. You can ask our guest any questions as you go. I say you can ask her. I mean, God, I'm just telling you that you can ask her. She might be thinking she'll be sitting in the green room around going, "Oh my God, you never said there was going to be questions, Ian." Yes, you can ask her anything you want, kind of. Good afternoon, my friend. Good to see you here. You're the first commenter. There you go. You get a special badge for that. Just as Stephen's done there, let me know if you're in the room, because it's really good for us to get this engagement. We could have recorded this and just posted it up there, but it's much better if you're there and you're engaging. I think there's about a 30-second time lag between us talking and live, so just be mindful of that. Now, let me just check my notes, see if there's anything I've got to do, anything I've got to say, because you know I always forget about this. No, I think we are good. I think we are good to go. So I can see our guest in the green room. I suppose I better do a nice introduction to our guest. Okay, then. So today we have the Technology and Transformation Director for Port of Tyne, leading the strategy and development of the Port's 2050 Innovation Hub and Open Innovation Programme. Welcome to Tech Talks, Dr. Jo North.
Hi there. Hi, Ian. Good evening. I'm also living the dream in the green room with a cup of green tea. How's that?
No, do you know what it is? I'm glad that we can't have the facility for people to post pictures, because I can see exactly what will be happening now. People will be bragging with their beer and pizza. But I tell you what it is, with this how to eat out to help out carry on. My waistline's not doing too good, Joe. So I'm pretty glad of the water tonight, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Yeah, have you been taking advantage?
Yeah, it's good to be here though. So it's really nice to talk to you this evening, and I'm really looking forward to hearing from everybody and seeing their questions. And I'll do my best to answer as many of them as I can.
I want the hardest questions for our Joe tonight, okay? So think about the deepest, darkest question. Remember, Joe, he has a title here, Technology and Transformation Director. So, you know, that's a catch-all, right? Actually, Joe, let's start there. Was that a new title that they brought in for you? Is this a new role?
It is a new role. It's a fairly new role. So what happened was, just a really short story, is in January 2019, the UK government brought out something called Maritime 2050, which is our UK our strategy for maritime to help us be competitive going towards the future. And in there it said, wouldn't it be great if in the future we had some innovation hubs at ports we were really collaborating, working on the digital agenda, decarbonisation and so on. And our chief executive, Matt Beaton, who's fantastic, he had a great idea and said, why wait? Why wait till a few years ahead? Let's go for it. Let's do it now. And within 6 months, we launched our 2050 Innovation Hub. So the then Secretary of State came to launch, and I facilitated that launch. So we had an innovation sprint to kick it off. And at that time, I joined the port to really lead on the Innovation Hub activities and to take that forward.
Was the launch when you could actually get together in real life, or was this a remote launch?
Yeah. It was fantastic. Actually, it was a year ago.
Was it?
We've just celebrated our first anniversary, and we had 2 days of people from tech businesses, universities, other ports, other people in the industry, key stakeholders, all came together to set the vision and the agenda for the Innovation Hub. And it's not just the Port of Tyne, so it happens to be at the Port of Tyne, but actually we run it in partnership with organisations like Accenture, PD as well, we collaborate with them, Nissan, the Department for Transport, Royal Haskoning, Connected Places Catapult, and Ubisoft. I think I've mentioned all the partners in the hub.
I hope you haven't forgot anybody there, mind, if you got a list next to you, people who to remember.
Yeah.
So you mentioned other ports as well, so you all collaborate together? There's no kind of them and us in the UK? You're all together?
Yes, well, there are areas, of course, where we need to do our own thing and we need to be commercial and compete, but there are so many areas where it actually serves us all well to collaborate. And there are areas like safety, the environment, the digital agenda as well, being more efficient generally, and coming together to really sort of collaborate, share that knowledge, and help each other rise, which is really, really good. So we do work with other ports. Yeah.
So Joe, this is a new role, okay? So between me and you and the thousands that are going to be watching this, what are your colleagues like? Are they all right?
They're fantastic, actually.
Yeah, you would say that.
They are. It's wonderful. I mean, the port is like it's like a great family of people.
Is it?
Yeah, and we've got a very values-led business. What's special about the port? I mean, there are many special things about the port, but one of the special things is that we're a trust port, and although we're a significant organisation, we don't actually exist for shareholder return. We're there for the benefit of the port, of the people we serve, of our stakeholders in our region and beyond, and the profits go back into making the port a better place for generations to come. So it's a special place to be part of and special people to work with.
Brilliant. Well, listen, before we dive into port, let's hear a little about you, Joe, because you've got an interesting CV. If I was to jump on your LinkedIn profile and do a little bit of stalking, I would think, oh my word, this lady's put so much time in already in this early stage. So give us a bit of a background, because there's so much in there.
Okay, so my area of expertise and real passion is all about innovation. So I have, I guess, one foot in the world of academia. So my PhD is in innovation and entrepreneurship, and I'm 50 now, and I completed that in my late 40s, so fairly recently, and I did that over 6 years, working full-time, studying part-time. So
hold on, Joe, I think I've got a button here for you. Oh no, that's laughing. I've got an applause somewhere. There you go. There you go. I've got it. It's there somewhere. I'm dying to press all these buttons. So great. So you finished that before you were 50, or?
Yeah, so late 40s, 2016.
Excellent.
It was a real labour of love. I really enjoyed that, and I did that at the University of York. And I also work as an associate lecturer, as a consultant as well at the University of York, helping businesses with innovation programmes and helping also researchers and academics commercialise their research, and also engage with the business community, lots of other stuff besides.
That must be really rewarding then.
It is. It's great. What I love about working in the innovation space is seeing things move forward. You see the difference that you make. and it's getting people to collaborate. And I love facilitating innovation sprints and getting the wisdom and the creativity from everybody in the room. It's really quite a special thing to be involved with. So I feel really lucky.
So how do you fit all this in then, Jo?
I think when you love what you do, it doesn't feel like work. You just keep doing it. And as I say, I'm really fortunate. And I think as well, with innovation, you can learn so much from different sectors. And one of the things we've been doing in the Innovation Hub is actually learning from other sectors as well as the port industry. So we've been running virtual sessions all the way through lockdown. We've had the Royal Air Force, we've had the European Space Agency in North East satellite applications, lots of different industries and organisations coming in to see how we can share learning and what we can do with the innovation community that we're creating.
And you've been doing that virtually, Jo, like online?
Yes, yeah. So we've been having sort of interactive Zoom sessions. So not webinars, but where we can actually talk, interact. And anybody who's listening in, actually, if they'd like to know more, then you're very welcome to come to those. They're all free, and we're starting again in September. So.
All right, okay, that's good to hear then, because you've mentioned some of the larger organisations there, but from the SME space, Jo, do you see the innovation and the passion is in there in the smaller businesses that you would like them to have an input as well?
Oh, absolutely. So we work with Connected Places Catapult, who's one of the partners in the Innovation Hub, and they're brilliant at connecting us with small organisations, because actually there's loads of innovation in SMEs, and especially tech SMEs, and definitely in our region locally. And we also work with South Tyneside as well. In fact, we ran an event at our Innovation Hub. Again, it was a physical event where we got South Tyneside small businesses together and really had a bit of an innovation jam about how to grow through innovation, which was brilliant. So yes, there's some fantastic innovation, and we proactively want people to come and be involved in that.
It's one of the most innovative boroughs in the region, South Tyneside,
Yeah, well, that doesn't surprise me.
I'm going to say that. I'm not going to say that.
We're very innovative, and I know we've got loads of great innovators.
We have indeed, and we're really proud of what we've got here, and proud of the port as well. So tell us a little bit about how the port fits into the region then. Why is it so important?
Well, the port is important. It's been there for a very long time, and so there's a real history to it, but also throughout its history, the port has evolved, and we need to continue to evolve as well as the markets change around us, as the world changes. We're actually, there's an independent study done not so long ago, and found that actually the port generates around 12,000 jobs in the region. So although we've got a few hundred people in the port, actually our impact is much wider, and I think it's 621 million that we support, generate for the local economy as well. And it's really great because we're a gateway, we're doing important stuff in and out, we're creating employment, and we like to be part of the region as well and working with our stakeholders on their agenda. So we see ourselves very much as part of the fabric of the community.
Did I hear you right? There's 621 million?
It is 621 million. I will just check.
Wow.
Numbers, but yeah, that's in terms of the wider amount that we generate. Yeah, it's the regional economy. That's right.
So what kind of things does the port actually do then?
So we have ships coming in and they bring different cargoes. So that might be biomass for power stations. So customers like Drax and Salam Power. We work with Nissan and helping them with their automotive transportation as well. So tea, we have a really massive tea warehouse. And of course, we've just not so long ago announced that we are really proud and pleased to be the future home of Equinor from a wind farm point of view. So we're really well placed for the offshore business too, because of where we're located and what we can offer, the size that we are. We've got deep sea. We can accommodate really large ships coming in and out, and also we share a vision which is about really transforming what we do and modernising ports and the values that we have.
And some of those ships are really impressive, aren't you, when you see those cruise ships come along the Tyne?
Yes, yeah. And that, it's been a tricky few months, I think, for the for the cruise and ferry industry. But we've got DFDS ferries and cruise liners as well. So really, there's lots going on, and that's just a snapshot really of all the things that we do.
It was a snapshot, and I want to drill into something you said there. It was around about the offshore renewable sector, and how has the port really leaned into that?
Well, we've got great facilities to start with. We're really well placed. So geographically, we're well placed for the seabeds of Dogger Banks, Pier, Sea Green. So we're a good space. But actually, what we're doing from an innovation point of view is really helping with that as well, because it's all about thinking differently. So what will happen with Equinor is they'll have their operations and maintenance base at the Port of Tyne. So there'll be going backwards and forwards to maintain the wind farms and so on. And then there'll be a whole area of supply chain to support that as well. So we're really excited about that. And when you look at how offshore wind has transformed somewhere like Grimsby, I don't know if you've been to Grimsby, Ian. Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then in the noughties, Grimsby was probably a little bit economically challenged.
Yeah.
And what the offshore wind industry has brought with them, literally thousands of jobs and around 50 million of incremental income coming into the region as well. So it's been really transformative. So all this offshore renewables is great news for us here, because they're going to be great employment opportunities, and also to be fabulous as well, I think, for youth, for young people, and employment, for great innovation and tech opportunities too.
No pressure on you then.
Well, we'll work. We'll work hard, and we work in partnerships. So our values are really all about supporting our customers in their vision as well. So we'll work really closely and make sure all of that happens really well.
So do you have any targets, Joe, around that, employment or what you bring to the region?
Yeah, well, what we've got is our Tyne 2050 strategy. So published that last November, and we'll renew it and refresh it towards the end of this year as well. And in there, we set out all our commitments, and they're across all sorts of areas. So it is about the contribution that we make to the region. It's also about how we operate. So we have a target of net zero emissions by 2030, for instance. We have a really ambitious, intentionally ambitious clean energy agenda. We also want to do great work for our customers, for our people within the port, and the communities that we serve as well. So it's all sort of laid down there. We're very transparent about that, and we welcome people's involvement and engagement with that strategy too.
You mentioned there about the 2030 carbon neutral, and it seems so far away from me, but actually you wouldn't believe, it's 2020 now, and it's not that far away. In those 10 years, is it a mammoth job to get yourself carbon neutral? Why would you not do 2025, for instance? I'm just being, you know what I'm getting at here. How long do these projects going to take you?
We've made some great strides already, actually, at reducing our carbon usage so far. So we're on a fantastic trajectory for that. There's lots we want to do, and it might be that we actually achieve it before 2030. The target for ports, I believe, is 2050. So we're looking to track ahead of that. And I think it's about starting now, and starting to make a difference as early as possible. And if we get there in 2025, that'll be a great achievement.
It would be indeed. Yeah, definitely. So let's talk about the Innovation Hub then. I'm really interested to see what kind of projects might have spun out of there already, or is it early days?
Well, at the end of our first year, we've achieved a lot. Some of the statistics are that we've actually worked with around 1,600 people over numerous organisations, scores of organisations. We've had events really regularly, open events. We've held challenges and hackathons to tackle real issues. We've tackled things, like safety challenges or tech challenges, environmental challenges as well. And also last December we had an Innovation Live event where we invited people to come and companies to come and pitch their ideas, not just companies, universities, not-for-profits and so on. And some great projects have come out of that for sure. So watch this space, because some of them we're about to talk about a little bit more going forward. But what we also welcome is if anybody listening in or watching has got some tech that they want to try, in a port environment. It might work brilliantly somewhere else, but you've never really thought of maritime, or you have been thinking of it, and you're thinking, actually, I think the thing I'm working on would really help ports. Then get in contact with us and contact me. You're very welcome to email me direct, and we'll see. We'll talk about it and see if we can help you with a trial or to support you with what you're trying to do.
Excellent. It's interesting because when you talk technology now, the art of the possible is just wild. I mean, technology, as you know, goes out of date 6 months to a year. So what kind of trends do you see now when you're working with some of these really innovative SMEs and people who come in for these sprints and hackathons? What's the trend? What they're all into? Is there a popular theme?
Yeah, I think I see a lot of AI. And lots of sort of app development, and I think data strategy is really, really important, and that's really a good starting place for us, is data and what we do with it. So ports traditionally have, over the years, have continued to work very much the same way as they've always worked. So we need to digitise, we need to think about how we automate our data, how we use our data, the gaps that we've got, how we bring in outside data to help, and also data sharing in terms of which data we want to share openly. So I think data strategy is really important. It's an essential place to start, which is where we're at. So work around there as well. We've really begun, but we're working on other things too.
It's interesting what you said about data sharing, because my ears pricked up there, and data is so valuable now. We know this. How can you share that with the outside world? Would it be kind of open source, is that the term, to get the data out there and to give it to people to do stuff with?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, organisations like Transport for London, for instance, the Oyster card data, that's been shared openly for quite a while, so that people can develop apps, or researchers and universities can use it for their research and so on. So you can't share everything. It's about being selective and anonymising things and doing it right. But I think, if we share and when we collaborate, we can do so much more together. And one of the important projects we're involved with is we're part of Connected Ports, which is an organisation, of ports internationally, a small group. And we're looking at how we can share data, learn about data from each other, and that's a great project. So it's sort of led by Rotterdam, and we're really proud to be part of that.
What kind of data? I'm going to get a bit nerdy on you here, but I love this kind of thing. So are we talking like satellite data, or data that you've particularly captured in the port to share with others, or?
Yes, it could be environmental data, it could be location data, a combination of all of the above. Tracking where things are, building in external weather data, tide information, all sorts of things. So it's really, as big as or as small as our imaginations are. But I think it's about being quite selective and starting off with, well, what are the questions that we want to answer, and therefore, what data do we need? Have we got it, yes or no? And what's the best way to get that data, combine it, and turn it into something that we can do something with, and that data then becomes insight and can help with things like AI and other projects too.
What was that initial question you said? You said you always ask a question. What is it you want to achieve? Was it? What was it?
Yeah, so start off with what is the question you want to answer.
Okay, yeah.
So, because I think it's easy to be sort of overwhelmed by loads and loads of data, and
Yes.
what to do with all of this. But actually start with the questions and then work forward from the questions. And you've probably got a lot of data that might be interesting, but some data might be more insightful than others for us to use.
So in terms of collecting data and integrating new technology into the port, have you got any stories you could share with us about new innovative bits of tech, or a big investment that you've brought in that has helped I don't know, not just produce data, but also make you more economical, make you work swifter and smarter and more productive?
We're actually something we're working on, which is yet to be completed. So please bear in mind this is still early days for us. We've committed to create a customer and people app so that customers can see where things are at any stage. So we're working with a particular customer to develop this. They have all the information they need at different stages of the journey. And also it helps us operationally as well to service that customer, because from the port perspective, we'll get the information we need. And there are different people within the client's organisation that needs to see that. Now that might not sound, particularly revolutionary, but it's a really important innovation from the port perspective, and it will really, really help the customer in quite a complex supply chain situation when you think of where goods are coming in from, where they're going to, and what happens to them in between.
That development then, Jo, of the app, is that something you have in-house, that resource skill, or do you bring in local resource for that?
We'll look at bringing in external resource for that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah. I think that's really important, because there are so many great ideas and innovators out there that we really want to work with people who have great ideas and can bring that external thinking in as well. I'm a big believer in, from an innovation point of view, diverse perspectives, collaboration, having great teams and great minds on something is the way forward.
I totally agree. And I think this is what Glenn's alluding to in his question here, is what is that project? So I think maybe Glenn might be asking, how could he get involved? What kind of things could he bring to the table? How does it start? I know you said you could drop you an email, but what does it look like when you start to engage with some of these SMEs?
Well, what we start off with is we'll create an MVP spec, so a minimum viable product specification, and we'll have created that by internal collaboration to say, actually, this is as well as some external collaboration, this is the sort of thing that we're looking for, this is the problem we want to solve, and this is what we want the tech to do for us. And then we'll invite people to say, okay, so have a look at that solution, what do you think we could do, and to propose how they can help us. So if anyone would like to be involved in that, I'm sorry I didn't catch the gentleman's name. Was it?
I think it was Glenn who mentioned that. I'm just guessing what he might have wanted to get involved with.
Yeah. So Glenn, feel free to email me. It's joe.withoutame.north@portoftyne.co.uk. And then when we get to the point of looking at that, of sending that out, we can have a conversation and see if it's something you're interested in, for sure. But that's the process we would take. It'll be a competitive process, but we want to make sure that we invite people to have an opportunity to have a look at it. And really what we're looking for is creativity and advancing the state of the art in UK maritime.
Is this funded by the port, Jo? There's a lot of European funding money being pushed into innovation. They see that is a really good place to get the benefit from putting money into that. Can you tap into that, or is this purely funded by the port?
So a lot of what we've done so far has been funded by the port, and also some of it by our partners as well. So going forward, what we're working on some collaborative funding bids for EU Innovate UK funding, and we not only are looking to lead some bids and do some bids of our own, but also what we have done is supported other organisations with letter support or from an engagement point of view to say that we will help them through the Innovation Hub with their project. So we try and help others with their bids as well as looking to bid in the future for ourselves too.
Fantastic. And in terms of collaborating with other European ports, is there something you can tap into that way?
Absolutely. We're in the process actually of just exploring something called Horizon 2020 and the Green Ports funding agenda, and we're in conversation. We need to join up with European ports for that, and also local SMEs, universities, and more. So we are in the process of talking to different European ports and looking at where we might have compatibility for that and shared objectives. So yeah, it's exciting, really exciting time, isn't it?
It is indeed. Do you pack your suitcase, Joe, to get some nice little trips?
I think it'll be virtual for quite a while.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I guess let's address that. How's things been, during this pandemic for you? Well, I see you're working from home now, Joe. How's things been for the staff at the port?
The staff at the port are key workers, and they've done an incredible job of keeping everything going throughout the lockdown and beyond. So I feel really proud of everybody. I feel really proud of what those individuals at the port have done as key workers, So we've kept everything going. We've stayed open all the way through, and we continue to operate and do what we do for our customers and for the region that we serve. So super proud.
Yeah, well done. Everyone watching as well. No doubt some of your colleagues will be tuning in. Joe, you've mentioned quite a few things, and as you've been talking, I've saw your eyes light up. So I'd love to hear, what is your passion, Joe? What really gets you fired up?
What gets me really fired up is people, businesses, and potential. And through innovation, it's seeing the business achieve things, and seeing people be part of that and really enjoy the journey. And I think innovation is they describe it as sort of the hero's journey. I don't know if you're familiar with Joseph Campbell and the hero's journey, which is the formula for many.
Share it away, Joe. Share it away.
Okay, so there's a book by Joseph Campbell called Hero's Journey, and any Hollywood blockbuster, any great novel follows the hero's journey, which is there are, you set off on a journey of hope and inspiration and excitement, and then you sort of hit what the Design Council call the fog of uncertainty, and you emerge from that with, you have to grapple with some stuff and work it out, and it feels like you're never going to get the solution or you're doing the right things. But then if you keep going, out comes the innovation at the other end. And I think it's really great to if you're going to break boundaries, if you're going to move forward, if you're going to advance the state of the art, I think it's a really great achievement to work through that and get successful innovation in place. So that's what fires me up, is really that journey and the outcome and the team effort that's involved in that.
Like a Lord of the Rings, Joe.
I don't know. I haven't actually read the Lord of the Rings.
Well, it's along the same lines as, heroes going on a quest. They've got to overcome obstacles. It's that kind of journey, isn't it? And as you say, you get over that curve. You come down the mountain, if you like, and that's where the fruit is. That's where the goal is. And do you ever get the point, though, Joe, in your role, or even when you're lecturing, or you dealing with other businesses, where you get to that point where you're just near the summit and people want to quit, and they don't know whether to pull the plug or whether to keep going? And sometimes in business, you end up throwing good money after bad. And, what is that point?
I think it's different for every project. There's something actually when you're in an innovation sprint called the groan zone, which is where it all feels incredibly hard and you're not getting anywhere. And that's the time to push through, because that's when the magic happens. If we're going to stay comfortable and think and do what we've always done and think what we've always thought, we're not really going to advance that much. But by pushing through that, and think differently and holding our nerve and staying true to the vision, I think that's really important, and that's what's exciting. Now, there are some projects where it's important to say, actually, this isn't working. It was a great idea, glad we tried it, but it really isn't working. And knowing the difference between the two is, I think, a matter of judgment and experience, intuition, and much more.
I think a couple of times you've touched upon the port, and you haven't said the word, although I don't think you have, but culture is springing to mind, because you've said a few times you're really proud, and at the start of the conversation I asked you about your colleagues, and straight away you didn't throw them under the bus, Joe. You said how great they were, and I can see there must be a really good culture in the port. In terms of innovation, how do you get everybody on the innovation bus when you've got someone like yourself who is excited and passionate about a project, but people mightn't believe it? How does that culture work with an innovation?
Yeah, well, it takes time, doesn't it? And what I've been doing, and it's been a real privilege to do, is work with many colleagues in the port, and we've worked through what innovation is, what their ideas, what they'd like to see going forward. Because people, I'm not the one with all the ideas, for sure. The people with the ideas, the people who are working in the port and doing the job day in and day out, and they've got great experience, great insight, and great creativity. So the more we can tap into that, the better. And we also have some fun with innovation as well. And it's about really creating an environment where people feel that they can and they want to come forward with their ideas. And we're really lucky because we work with people who are very, very committed to the port. And if they've got something that they think can make a difference, then they'll speak up and say so and share it, so we can do something with it.
Is there a platform for that, Joe? Is there, for want of a better term, an ideas box? But I'm sure it's a bit more techy than that, to be able to put your ideas to you, to the team, to the SMT?
We've got a fantastic app, actually, which was there.
I thought you would do.
I didn't create that before I joined, so I've take no credit for that whatsoever. It's called Portal.
Okay.
With a double L, Portal. And it's a great space. So there are some social elements on there. So through lockdown, we actually walked to the port of Newcastle in Australia between us.
Brilliant.
And posted our photos, and we raised some money for the NHS locally.
Fantastic.
And also news updates, but also, as well as that, there's a space for people to give their ideas. And also, if you've got any questions about anything, they can ask the CEO directly. It's really well used, so it's a really great way of getting people together and communicating.
Did they win anything, Joe, for having the best idea?
No, maybe we should have a think about that. But yes,
half a day's holiday, 3 days holiday if you come up with something that gets implemented. Great
idea. Well, have a think about that. Yeah, thank you.
To be honest, we don't want any more half a day's holiday. We want to get back to work.
It's a funny time, hasn't it?
It has, yeah. How's things been going from a staff point of view? Have you over communicated to make sure that everyone's doing okay mentally?
We've tried really hard. Our communication channels, we try and make them as good as we can at all times. And we've got we're very close relationships as well. We've had a number of people working from home, so the office staff have been working from home, and we did various things with them as well through lockdown. So I think we've looked after people pretty well, I hope.
Great, fantastic. We've got a question here from Ellie. It's quite a long one. I'll just maybe summarise it. She's talking about the number of jobs that might be created. She speaks about an Equinor collaboration. That makes sense to you? It's a great question. It's a fair question. She's saying, will it be filled by local people or maybe pulled in from outside?
So it's great news locally. So initially there'll be a couple of hundred jobs. We expect that to go into the thousands. So I mentioned Grimsby earlier. So Grimsby had 2,000 direct jobs from over time from the industry, and it turned into 5,000 indirect jobs. And a good proportion of those will be local from the local area for sure. So I hope that's answered the question.
What do you think about in terms of training, Joe? Some of these jobs, will there be? So back in the, I'm going to go off on a bit of a tangent here, but I don't know if you've ever been to Sunderland Museum before. And when you walk on the first floor, there's a sign up there, and the sign says things like plater, welder, rivet catcher, and things like that. Now, these were old job titles. You know, my father was a plater and shipyard workers. But now we've got influencers, digital marketers, vloggers, and things like that. The way I'm going with this is the people that you're going to be bringing in, these new jobs that are created, will there be new jobs with new tech and new skills that you might have to put them through a training course, or how does that work?
Yeah, so there'll be jobs for the offshore industry itself, offshore wind renewables, and there will be a lot of upskilled jobs for sure. And I think it also brings great opportunities for apprenticeships.
Mm-hmm.
So there'll be a variety of jobs really in different areas. And yes, some of them will need some digital skills.
It's exciting to understand some of these new jobs and new skills that are coming up, because as we've said before, this is brand new technology. We're learning, we're testing, we're innovating, and you've got to keep constantly ahead of that. So is there a training department within the Port of Tyne? Is it?
Yeah, so the training, so that area will be Equinor. So for the wind farms themselves, that will be done through Equinor rather than through the port. But of course, we have a fit for the future strategy that we're working on for our people to make sure that we're always keeping upskilled from a port perspective.
And in terms of staff, if the staff wanted to get upskilled in a certain discipline, is the facility there to say, you know, I'd like to be able to do this course, that sort of stuff?
Yes, so we have a personal development, a professional development process and review system. And they'll discuss things with line managers and see what the opportunities are. So we try and support where we can.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what's next for you then, Joe, personally? You know, as I said before, you've done so much. Is there something that you personally want to achieve? Have you got a little pet project that you think, I really want to get this implemented, I want this to work, I want this to succeed?
I think we're at the beginning of the Innovation Hub journey, and I've been super fortunate to be there from the very beginning. The first year, it was, we have a plan, and it was sort of sticking to that plan, but learning as we went, and actually the plan was all about learning. And I think we've learned a lot in the first year. I think we'll continue to learn a lot more going forward. And I'm genuinely really excited to see where we take it next, because this is definitely just the beginning. And really want to see the Innovation Hub go from strength to strength. It's been a massive success in its first year, and I think it can go even further as we go forward, I'm sure.
Fantastic. So just before we wrap it up, then I'm just going to make sure I haven't missed any questions. If anyone does have a question for Jo before she goes, remember at the top what I said, you can ask any question of Jo. Really put her on the spot, a dead hard question. Do some Googling and see if she knows. Is there anything that I haven't asked you, Jo, that you might want to get across? I love asking this question because, we can't be a master of everything. So I don't know what I don't know. So is there anything that I haven't asked you that you'd like to share?
I'd just like to share that we've got some more Innovation Hub events coming that are free. We're creating a community of people who are interested in innovation, so we can talk to each other, work together, collaborate, and so on. And that starts in September. If you'd like to know more, just put into Google 2050 Innovation Hub Port of Tyne, and you'll see the events coming up. And we really love you to come and join us and see one of those.
And all virtual events, Jo?
They're all virtual, yes. Yeah.
And what do those look like? Sort of small hour, 2 hour projects or sprints, or?
Hour to an hour and a half. Sometimes we'll have a guest presenter. So we've got Husqvarna talking about their Sustainavate agendas up first in September. We've got some more exciting things planned as well. So we'll have a guest speaker and then share some thinking and have ideas. So it's social as well as learning.
Fantastic stuff. Well, Jo, thanks so much for joining us this evening. It is, we're really proud of the port. in the region and in South Tyneside. You're doing some great stuff. So thank you so much for sharing all that. I wish you well. I'm going to be watching from the sidelines with interest, because it's early days for yourself, but it's an exciting journey, isn't it?
It's really exciting. Thank you so much for having me on the show this evening. I've really enjoyed it, and I've loved the questions as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Joel. When we do this again in person, do you promise to come and see us with beer and pizza?
Definitely. With this beer and pizza, I'll be there.
Thanks, Joel. Make it a good evening. See you soon.
Bye for now. Bye.
Thank you. Well, there you go. And that was our Joe from the Port of Tyne. Thanks so much for joining us today. Let me go through and quickly say hi to a few people. There's our Justin. Justin, thanks so much for joining us. We'll drop you an email from my role at the LEP. Yes, Justin's got a great role at the LEP. Let me just quickly flick through. There's Gren. This room is because of Gren here at the Invest South Tyneside at the One Trinity Green. We're going to be doing a course shortly on creating podcasts such as this and using some of this facilities here in One Trinity Green. So thanks for that. Hi, Ant. Lovely to see you, fellow podcaster. Mark, well done delivering your leaflets for the localists. I know you've been working hard on the local election. Thanks, Kate. Lovely to see you as well. James, why have you rubbed that in about having a beer? But you know what it is? I could have one in my hand within 20 minutes, my friend. So thank you. Katie, thanks so much for your support. You always support our in-person events. And we really do enjoy you helping me out, essentially, because you do a lot of the running for me, don't you? Helping me put all these wires in. Myra, lovely to see you as well. Yes, renewable sector, it's doing so well in the Northeast. And there's the team. This could be our Lindsay at Invest South Tyneside. Thanks for sorting this out, Lindsay. And we've got another tech talk. I do want to say October 1st, maybe. We're trying to get this sorted out with Andy Walton from 9 Software. So that's going to be a great tech talk going forward. Again, if you remember to click on this, make sure you've got yourself subscribed to understand the next tech talks. Of course, follow Invest South Tyneside on Facebook if you're watching through YouTube or Twitter. And if you want to, check out some of the other podcasts and interviews that I've done through my podcast, Industry Angel. There's lots in there for you. So then that brings us to the end of this evening. One thing I would be interested in, let me know about the timings. We do these live podcasts and live conferences right across days. We've tested them different days, different times, mornings, afternoons, evening. Let me know in the comments when the best time for you is. It would be really interesting to understand that. And there you go. It is Andy Walton on October 1st. So I'm looking forward to seeing you back then. Okay, then. Make it a great evening. Stay safe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you very soon.